Welcome in to In the Know with Steph and Joe. In the Know with Steph and Joe, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Restoration One of Carrie and of Steph's bookkeeping services. Check them out. You'll see something flash up behind these two. It won't be boobies or anything like that, but it'll be Restoration One, telephone numbers, things like that. It'll be there.
847-264-4664.
It's all in the verbiage.
Verbiage.
So there you go.
Verbiage.
Verbiage.
We're talking verbiage. Verbiage today.
I feel like this show is going to be an adventure. My brain is so fried from this week.
It's been a great week.
Why is it fried? Because you've been
just a quick shout out to Stephanie Conley for listening. Good to have you.
I love that. Thank you, Ken. Okay.
I'm the number one listener of this show. Okay.
Top fan right here, Steph Conley.
Long time listener.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't.
Long time listener.
First time I don't tune in. You're impressive because you do two things at once. All right, let's get down to verbiage. Are you fried this week because you've had to use extensive verbiage to navigate certain things? And I'm just asking on is verbiage part of the reason you're fried? You've had to use verbiage. You've had to
I talk
things
all the time, so I guess I mean, we've just been really busy at work because it's tax season. Our new employee starts Wednesday, so I had to get all that. And
you have to use verbiage to talk to your new employee
and get all the stuff printed and everything for
then
them to
sign. You set up the book nook,
and then we got the bookkeepers nook going. Yeah. It's all live now, and Valerie and Melanie have been in there all week. So
do they like it?
Yeah, it's nice and cold in that office. My office is like a damn inferno. So that was nice.
Do they need a heater?
No, I don't think so.
No, it does get a little chilly on the south side of the building here.
Yeah, but it's nicer. It's hot in my office.
It's always cooking in there.
Yeah, I know. Every time I walk into her office,
it's like you walked into the dry heat of Arizona.
Literally, I walk in, I go, God, it's hot in here.
I expect to see two Italians in towels sitting there getting a steam.
Greeks. Whatever.
It's a verbiage.
Verbiage. That's right. Verbiage.
But so it's just been a very busy week. And then, so I'm excited though. I'm real excited for next week. But I did change some of the verbiage in my employee handbook because Pete wrote it a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I never read it. I just was like, oh yeah, Pete, So
Pete's
I didn't
good.
So I didn't read it.
Pete's cursing you right now. You're gonna get struck by lightning. Hang on.
Who knew he was going to expire? I mean,
well, I'm like, I need edits. Now what do I do now?
Yeah, right.
And so I'm like,
who do you
call Pete?
I'm like, so now I gotta make the edits. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, this is like above my pay grade. So
okay.
So I went in and finally read it, and then I made a few edits to some of the verbiage in there, and
let's
fingers
start
crossed
there.
I still won't get sued.
I was gonna say, let's start there. Let's start with contracts, right? Like verbiage for contracts is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys feel you have great contracts in place?
I don't know. I mean, I would say
you just edited yours.
That's an employee handbook, so that's just an internal process thing.
It's still a
contract. So I can share a story with you.
Okay.
I had a business partner, we'll call him Peter, who put together the contracts for the show.
Who has, let's also say, has rolled his eyes and scoured away from me because of my HR nightmare.
Because of your verbiage,
because of my verbiage and my disposition.
But that we could do later in the show specifically about that, where it's
but
client communication or employee communication.
What I'm saying is Mr. Peter here is so
dead. I mean,
dead set on God. We're gonna get struck by lightning. He's
actually laughing, bro.
Head set on HR protocol.
He was very much
right.
Mm-hmm.
So now continue with your story
Yeah.
and knowing that
So he was very, very guarded with verbiage and the
correct.
way things read.
Correct.
That he one of his in-laws, his brother-in-law, was an attorney, or is an attorney, and so he said, "Hey, we wanted to say this," and he put it together, and he was a good wordsmith because of his knowledge on HR law.
Correct.
Right?
Background. Right. Correct.
And so we put together a contract for these shows, you guys, and I walk through it and say, I understand it, and here's what I want it to mean. Now we're working with a new show which we're very excited about, but they have a little different background, and they said, the way Section 4 is worded, our attorney, we're checking with our attorney on this,
doesn't
right?
like it. Yeah. Whatever.
And so I've never thought twice about it, right? Because Pete said, "Hey, it's good. I have my brother-in-law. We're good." So I'm like, okay, cool.
Checked and double checked.
So at first I go, well, how dare you? This is Peter.
You were offended.
God rest his soul. Right.
Well, that now, but then.
Yeah. But no, I wasn't offended, but I was like, this is the first person
that read it.
Yeah, obviously, right? Or something. Then sign here. Thank you. Right.
Clearly we didn't do our job. I didn't read it.
So and I thanked them. I said, you know what? Cool. Yeah, see what your attorney says. And how should it be worded, right? And then we'll get it and we'll check it again with our new attorney and say, okay, how does this make sense? And because it really, as we are growing, as you're growing, it could be a very, very good thing for us to have caught it now, rather just because of the verbiage in it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with that. But there's kind of a story on those contracts where when you're at one stage in your business where, was we're just kind of, let's get going and make Joe and Steph sign these, and then.
So what are we in for here, Steph? Steph, what did we sign up for?
Well,
should we go back and read it?
Well, it's too late now. You've already signed in blood.
We're in.
That's right.
We bled twice by technicality.
So where I think in my simple terminology and verbiage, I'm like, it makes sense to me. To somebody else, it should say this.
You've been through it, so therefore it makes sense.
Yeah, correct.
Well, okay. So for us, we had an attorney draft our contract that we sent out to clients. So they drafted it and put everything in there, and then they noted in there, since everything we do is customized to each individual client, that they specified in the contract that all edits and things will be superseded by the Schedule A, which is where we put all of our customized notes that we send out to the client to whatever, how many bank accounts or services or et cetera, that they have. And then that's where we put all that. But I've actually had a client or two try to get me to edit the contract. Sometimes I'm just a hard firm no, because I don't want to edit it, because then I'm afraid that.
Hey, Joe, how are you? Glad to have you in this.
But I don't edit it because I don't want to have to go back to the attorney to have to pay the attorney to then say yes or no to the client. So usually I'm a hard no. But there have been a couple incidents where it made sense, where it was fine. But it was really to my benefit, not to the client's benefit. Because we have, for example, we have a 7-day notice. You have to give me 7 days notice if you cancel services. And then that gives us time to wrap up and offboard and whatever within those 7 days. But the client, she had gotten let go without any notice from her previous bookkeeping firm. So she wanted me to switch it to 14 days. Well, needless to say, we weren't a good fit. And so then she wanted to get out of the contract. And I'm like, well, in accordance to this, your refund is going to be prorated against the 14 days versus the 7 days it would have been. And so it is what it is now. So it kind of worked out to my favor.
Oh, good one.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. All right. Oh, damn it. Mom just listened. I had a good question. I'm going to say it anyway, because verbiage matters.
Yeah.
When it comes to a contract with a client, does size matter?
No, I like to keep it short and to the point.
No
Because if
matter
you
the
have
no matter the size
of the
of your
client,
clients.
right? No, it
No,
doesn't matter. We have the same contract for every
Doesn't
size
matter.
client, and I would want just like 1 or 2 pages and just to the point, because I feel like the more fluff, like I don't know, like when you go sign a mortgage and there's like 35 pages of document at each like section of it, like who's reading all of that?
All right, I got a devil's
know.
advocate for you.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a client that comes in and they say, I need you to adjust, to go back and you know, what do you call it? Reconcile past years,
Yeah.
right?
So like a cleanup project. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Clean
Yeah.
up for you. And they say, they're like, I got 10 years of cleanup.
Okay.
Right? Are you going to just take that job with the same contract and not take money down?
Well, no. So like our Schedule A explains how the payment structure and the fee structure and everything. So if we have cleanup projects that are longer, more than 3 years, it says that we require 50% down, 25% at this phase, and then the remaining 25% at the next phase.
Okay.
And
so
then,
your contract verbiage makes up for.
Well, it's not the contract verbiage; it's the rider of our Schedule A that I could customize to anything.
So that's contract verbiage.
Yeah, but it's just like I hand type that every time.
Oof.
Every
Really?
client, it's customized to every client. I hand type that every time. I mean, I have a template, but it's pretty much like customized to each client. So I don't change any of the main verbiage, which is what protects us legally and protects the client legally.
Love that.
and
Okay.
the softwares and all that.
So your pay scale is based on the client. And that's kind of how we are working towards as our company. We've had jobs that we've had to front in the beginning that are massive, and because of our current contract verbiage, we take it in the.
Yeah, but you have it differently though, because a lot of the jobs that you have to deal with are insurance payouts, so those automatically have kind of extended terms compared to dealing directly with the homeowner, where you could change that. But like we get paid in advance, so like now that it's March 1st, all of our clients paid us March 1st for March services, which will not be fully completed until the first week of April.
Which people are planning for your service. People aren't planning for my service, right?
Yeah, okay. I guess in theory, but yeah, we have it set up that way, but that's not necessarily in our contract that way. But when we send them the stuff, it tells them, like when we send you the invoice for March 1st, you got to pay it. And just like I had a client say that, well, I can't pay you until the 3rd week of March. Cool.
Well, then that's when I start my service.
Right. Then that,
right? It was just planned. So everybody out there listening, curious how your verbiage is for your payment terms. You don't have to get specific. I'm curious, what do you guys use to say, hey, this is how we charge our client. This is how we make sure they pay. Carrie and I have been like tussling with how to make sure we get it done right, because we are a service that we can't just, charge somebody something up front and go, "Ooh, here it is." And then, later down the line go, "Oh, here's your final bill," because we don't even know sometimes exactly what their bill will be. So,
yeah, but we have it in our contracts where it states like we can have the option to review at any point in time and rebid the job. So you could sign with us and then we could be working on it. And let's say your business grows. Like we had a client, they grew significantly last year, which is great and amazing for them. But it took more time for us to do the work. So then we had to change our pricing.
Good point. Yeah, that's another good point. So, what kind of verbiage is in there for if you need to add additional payments?
Yeah, so we try and
your typical contract.
We try if we're able to catch it in a reasonable amount of time, we try and give them like 30 days notice on it for when we're going to change it. So like if I notice this in March, then it will go in effect April 1st. So it gives them a little bit of time, but sometimes we don't have control. Like for example, QuickBooks just did another software upgrade for a software price increase. and I got a week's notice on it, and it hit, and I pay for all those softwares for a lot of my clients on my wholesale price. So then I had to email everybody and on the fly basically give them like 48 hours notice, letting them know that the software price went up and that I have to charge them. But that's out of my control. That's not me.
Is that contract wording, because it's kind of built into our contract as well, right? Like we have contract wording saying, listen, if something changes, we're going to advise you, and henceforth, once you're advised, you're going to be charged more, right? Like that's something. I'm just curious who out there is going through. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but just want to understand. Maybe you're looking at it and going, "Oh crap, I don't know what I have in my contract," right? Like I don't know if I'm allowed to progress and charge more or add a supplemental, and because this job went outside of the scope, right?
Well, I feel like creating your contract is one of like your first kind of steps in your business plan. Like that should be established before you open your doors.
I know a lot of people that just run out there and just start working and don't care about the contract. So
then that's how they run into those problems, and then people don't pay them or they can't renegotiate things. Like it just opens the door for so many problems, especially when you're like me being a service-based business. Like you have to have a contract. It's not like I'm going to McDonald's and buying chicken nuggets. I know what I'm getting without having a contract.
Absolutely. Maggie says, if someone gets a package deal for my services, they pay up front. Same goes for hourly. They don't pay, then I don't start the job.
That's a great way to have a service. I can't do that. So like there's such a range of how you present your service versus contract, right?
Well, so like, for example, like there's emergencies where Rich works in the pool industry. So when a pipe bursts and the whole pool's draining into the yard, somebody's got to hurry up and get out there. Right. Somebody's got to get out there and stop the bleeding.
Correct.
And so they'll get out there, they'll cap the pipe and shut the valves and everything just to get it to at least stabilize.
Stop. Yeah.
But there's things that need to be done to prevent other damage to the other stuff. And then they bid it out at that point. And, like if they're out the $150 service call because somebody doesn't pay that's different. But if they went out there and repaired all of the plumbing and did all that without having some type of contract, that would be crazy.
Which is, again, verbiage and contract wording and knowing.
But I mean, but for your services specifically, you guys get, like, you can give them a ballpark idea of your initial service call for the emergency stop. And then once you get out there and stop the bleeding, then that's when you guys finally assess and give them a real formal contract.
Stopping the bleeding, though, to us could be putting equipment on site and saying, like, here's
here's your pump,
here's a bunch of equipment, you're going to be charged, I'm let's see what Maggie has to say, because she's talking about it now too.
Yep. She goes, I know with mitigation companies, it is sometimes very difficult to get money regardless of contracts and get can get expensive.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? Like mitigation versus an emergency plumber, right? An emergency plumber comes out and says, hey, I can stop the water from flowing, but do you want me to fix the problem, right? Like I can turn your water off, switch a valve, the water's off. Water's not flowing anymore, but I didn't fix the pipe that's burst.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, with mortgages,
okay.
Right. We have to say, here's how much we're making on this. I mean, so it's not like a car dealer that goes, oh yeah, we'll sell you this car, and I don't know how much a car dealer in real estate, the realtor, we have to disclose everything. Like, here's how much I'm making, here's how much they're making, here's how much you're paying, here's what you can shop for, here's what you can't shop for. So our verbiage is very, very clear and concise, and we have timelines that we have to do that all by. If not, then we're in violation of a lot of compliance issues.
So verbiage guides much of your, or law guides much of your verbiage.
Yeah, all of your
verbiage.
pretty much all.
Almost. I'm sure there's several other industries out there that they guide,
Yeah.
right? If your industry is not guided by verbiage or by the law, right? Like for myself, how do I navigate that? How would you navigate that? Because yours is guided. Well, come to the radio show. Are you guided by that much law?
Not here. When I worked on the FM dial, yes, because
Correct.
we were that. But again, then that's law. It's the FCC that's regulating it. Right?
Correct. So now here,
fuck the FCC.
How do you navigate? How do you navigate? How do you navigate outside of?
I don't have laws regulating anything that I do.
So how do you guys navigate when it comes to the gray area or the area you're not known of? You're not knowledgeable on, right? Like
for that gray area, I usually say, "Hi, this is In the Know with Steph and Joe."
But
don't put the gray area on us.
So what do you mean? Because like I hired an attorney to put whatever in place to protect me and to make sure that it's a contract that's fair on both sides that will stand up in court if I had to take somebody to court.
But written verbiage is different than spoken.
Right.
Totally. And so that was hearsay. Did I really say that? I actually have it on recording.
He said, she
in
said,
grand
right?
jury, hearsay is valid testimony.
So here we are.
I know that from a friend.
Here we are negotiating
the
the gray area that is right. So that's what I'm asking is when it comes to what's not known, how do you guys navigate that outside of your contracts that right? We know what contract says.
Yeah. Hey,
so I can navigate the white and the black of or whatever color you green and red. I don't care what colors you want to use. Yeah. How do you navigate the middle?
So if I have a client and they ask me to do something over the phone, I will send them an email outlining the conversation and tell them that they have to acknowledge my email before I will conduct said changes in the service.
So to summarize this in a verbiage that is very generic, all of your correspondence via audio get translated into text and corresponded back to the client saying this is what we said in writing, and then therefore they have to respond, and then you do said thing.
Yes. Yeah. There's very, very few situations where I will do something on the fly just by somebody's word.
Okay.
There's very, very few situations. I mean, sometimes, it does happen, but usually I like to have an email sent just so we're both on the same page.
In writing saying this is what, so you recap all verbal conversations.
Well, not all of them. I'm just saying when it pertains to money, it pertains to money
or action
and like scope of work
change. Or action, right? Yeah.
Then I'll do that. Okay. But like if you called me and were like, hey, Steph, where do I find this chart of account item in my QuickBooks?
Not a big deal.
I'm not going to send you an email saying, hey, Joe, per our conversation, this is how you do this.
Well, really, I would like it if you did.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with Maggie. She's like CYA type of thing. Just
right.
And I think that's from experience, right?
I mean, it's from working in industries
I tried to be a nice guy. I said I would do this. Now you're taking advantage of me, or it doesn't get done, or the next time I didn't do it. And now I got to go to my boss and go,
But sometimes I'm driving, a lot of times I'm driving in my car and I'm fielding phone calls and I'll be like, I'm driving. I can't pull over because I'm on the highway. Can you just send me a text with a couple little sentences so it will jar my memory when I get back to my office?
Yeah.
Because if you call me and you tell me something, I get so many phone calls in a day and text messages. And I'll never remember all of it.
I call you all the time now.
Yeah. Most of the time I don't answer my phone.
I know that. No, you answer for me.
Lois.
Come on.
Mom.
Can I have a cookie?
I just
Can I have a cookie?
But it's just I like things in writing. Like that's just my preference. Rich he likes things in writing, but he also likes Rich is like a phone call kind of guy. He likes a call. For
really?
work. Like not for me to call him, but like
Okay.
clients to call him at his
Still
real
have
job.
a question on that one.
Huh.
Okay. So, you like things in writing.
Right.
Does it matter between email or text?
I prefer email. If it's an important text, I will email it to myself. So I have it in our CRM. So I have a backup of it in case my text messages go away.
Ooh, so you take the
Screenshot.
Okay, whatever it is, conscious effort to convert it from the platform that somebody sent it to you into the platform you want.
If it's important enough and I need to save it for backup and record, yeah.
Love that. Okay.
But my industry requires it. But like Kent would have to do like the same thing in his industry.
All I'm asking though is, now from that, I'm going to back up a step or two. Do you purposefully tell people, do you verbalize or verbiage your, hey, listen, I am a email person. I want things in emails.
Hi, Lynn.
Oh. Hey, Lynn.
Hey, Lynn.
And
hi, Derek.
Hi, Derek. We're talking about verbiage today. So we're trying to figure out, right now we're talking about contract verbiage.
Yeah,
and
verbiage.
Hopefully we'll get to the funner stuff about clients and employee verbiage, because that one I think is going to be fun. But I let people know during the onboarding phone call that I prefer to either receive a text or an email versus a phone call. That it's very difficult to get me on a phone call with my undivided attention on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So people know in advance, and it's at your own risk then at that point.
Roll the dice after that and whatever you want.
Yeah.
Ken, do you acknowledge to people what you prefer for your communication process?
Yes. What I ask them theirs. Hey, we're gonna be asking for a lot of things. We're gonna be communicating over the next 30 to 45 days. Do you prefer text, email, phone call?
Mm-hmm.
So you ask for theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if you were to meet somebody that's outside of a client of yours? There may be a business relationship partner, right? Somebody that you can do business with, and they are a texter, but you're an emailer. Do you tell them?
We'll text away.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. You don't care.
Yeah, text away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. How about you?
I am a texter. I always tell people I'm a millennial and I like to text, even though that's kind of a fallacy.
You seem
because
older than a millennial. Anyway, the interesting thing is,
really?
The interesting thing is, guys in the trade and gals in the trade, I get that all the time. All right. So our buddy Mike, who does the Dream Home Experts and runs Expert Home Solutions now, that's what, hey, you got my cell phone. If you need an immediate response, please text me. Right. So it seems like the trades, people love that texting piece.
Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah, but I wouldn't but don't do all of them though. Don't call me, then leave a voicemail, then text me, and then email me all about the same thing. Don't do all three. Pick one.
Hey, left you a voicemail. Shot you an email too.
like pick one.
There's
and just
certain
do that.
things
Don't do all
where
three.
if I'm gonna call somebody and it's important and it needs to be documented, I'm gonna call them. And then I'm going to leave them a voicemail on the call. And then I might shoot them an email saying, hey, left you a voicemail. Give me a call when you can.
But in the court of law, those texts are written. They can be,
but I did not say I was texting. I said I was going to call them, leave them a voicemail, shoot them an email. I could shoot them a text too if I know them that well. But if I'm in that formal of a conversation, I'm probably going to email because I want it in real writing.
Yeah.
Right. Not that texts aren't real writing, but So, okay. We know how we're going to communicate via our, what are you writing down there?
Well, I guess you'll see in a minute. But so I think we got contracts and the importance of having a written contract and making sure a professional reviews your contract at least, once or twice. So this way, then you can be protected. Your client can be protected. Like it's a well-rounded contract.
Yeah.
I feel like we could all agree on that.
Yes.
Absolutely. If you don't
So-
have an attorney, go find one because.
But now, so since we were kind of touching base on clients a little bit and kind of talking and going down the preferred methods of communication for verbiage, what is your standpoint on swearing? Because
I fucking love it.
like, okay, so for like a client, I won't swear unless they swear first.
Ooh, great rule.
So like I won't swear unless they swear first. And if they use that kind of language, then I guess we're in a more casual environment and maybe I would let something slip then at that point.
If we were to turn it into dancing terms, you let them lead in the tango?
Yes, when it pertains to that. Like I will not drop any type of foul language, lewd joke, nothing. I let them drive the bus on that and
No
then
nip
we see
slip.
what happens.
No nips.
Nope. Nothing like that will happen.
Listen, I'll nip slip all day long.
All day.
All day. But I
like-
will not drop the F-bomb if they don't.
But it's just, like that's the way I kind of approach it. But then it's also the same thing. Like if I'm in a heated conversation with somebody and then they swear first out of anger, then now I feel like you're fine and comfortable with being disrespectful in the
Contextual.
conversation.
Right.
So now it's gloves off and I could say whatever I want then at that point. Like I feel like once you swear first, that changes the whole dynamic.
Okay. So if you let them swear, you swear, do you feel...
I mean, I don't swear all the time. That it's not like they say the F
I've
word.
heard you,
and
you
then
swear a lot.
I'm just when we're out at a bar, that's a different situation. I'm not at work. Okay. But I'm just
saying.
I'm just saying, like, so
I've
like
heard you. I've heard your mouth, and you cuss a lot.
I thought that fucker was a business of hers.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
That fucker. Which business
Yeah.
is that? Oh yeah. What street is that on? Fucker Lane. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just
Okay.
saying, so like if we're having a casual conversation and a swear word is dropped, then I feel like I have the option to do that if I want to. If I don't want to do that, then I don't have to. But then
Yeah.
if you're angry with me and you swear at me, then that's when my whole vibe and my whole level of respect
Disposition
will
changes.
completely
Right.
change. And then you'll get treated the way that you're treating me.
Mhm.
Like I tell my girls, if any client of ours ever swears at you, hang up on them immediately. And then
I
tell
like
them,
that.
and then
I'm-
send them an email and tell them that they're no longer allowed to communicate with them via phone and they need to call me.
And it's just you.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
So
that's our protocol.
and
You wait till
that to
mom
me-
calls you.
wait till Linda gets a hold of you.
Yeah, because she'll fly in.
That's right.
She's got free points, so it'll be
She'll
free.
cut a bitch.
She's gonna get paid to show up here.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
So
So I don't, back when I was early in my career, I think that swearing, bad words, whatever you may say, was totally unacceptable in the workplace. I think now we've moved to a place where they're just words. They're nothing to be ashamed of. You see them, they're not beeped out on regular television anymore. You know what I mean? And yeah, Derek says, hey, that's a great protocol, taking control of the situation right away. Again, I go into the contextual part, right? I don't swear a whole ton, but if I get excited, if I'm telling a story or I'm talking, wow,
yes.
it'll come out. I have swore in front of people in a banking situation. I'm going, oh, sorry. And they're like, no, man, that's cool. That's good. People don't get offended so much,
Anymore.
But if the tonality is and you're angry and you're coming at me and you're swearing, I will go, hold on.
Right.
Let's not go there because
100%.
right. And I try to control that situation, and then I'll hit me like, listen, this motherfucker over here.
Well,
Right.
that to me is like if somebody were to aggressively come at you
Yeah.
with their words, right, or whatever, and they weren't to swear, you kind of be like, okay, they're really excited, they're very,
Yeah.
But as soon as they drop a swear word,
Then it's game on for
it
me.
changes. Well, it's
Game
game on, right? It
Yeah.
changes the entire dynamic of
Yeah.
the conversation, right?
Like you could yell at me And as long and you could bring facts and you could do whatever, and I could sit there and take somebody yelling at me, but the second that line crosses or you say something personal, okay, now
it's now emotional over factual.
Right.
Right. And does swear words immediately change it from that?
No, it's just the tone for me. Like, I don't care if we're having like a casual conversation and we're joking around and we're talking.
It's intent.
Right. Like if we're just talking and you're saying something and you're telling me a story and you drop an F-bomb or whatever.
Well, you know I'm going to drop F-bombs.
No, I'm saying if I never met you before.
Okay.
And you're a potential client of mine and you're having this conversation and you're telling me this, then I don't get offended. I won't get upset. I won't get bothered by it. But if you were mad at me and your whole tone was different and then you just drop an F-bomb, now I'm going to take it more as a threat, and now we're going to fight.
What if I was mad at you and never dropped a swear word?
I won't. Then I won't.
So literally, it's the swear word in the range.
Or if you attack me personally,
I'm just the same. Well, physical attack is always
not physical. I'm saying like personally, like if you're if we're like arguing about something and you want to go emotion. And you want to go low and you want to
right. Low blows are always but that to me
that's
is
a problem.
That to me is again where what's the difference, right? Is literally that change, because I can have a 8 out of 10 level aggression towards you, but if it's all factual and no swear words, then you are totally okay with that.
Yeah.
As soon as I add swear words or emotion that change it from the factual to the now I'm either A, low blowing you, or B, swearing at you. Those are the two things that really kind of change it from that level 8 aggression of no swearing to level 8 aggression with swearing or emotion, right? Like it's literally that, right?
Right.
So verbiage is everything. Keep the fucking emotions out of it.
Right.
Oh, and the swearing and the fucking.
Yeah. So,
well, there should be no fucking in all of this, but
yeah. So it's just that certain type of verbiage. It just, I think, will set people off.
Oh, that's so interesting. I bet we could go back and Google every like YouTube video where people are like, look at this crazy person going crazy. And then all they do is just attack, verbally with swear words or low blows or something like that. Right. But then you look at this guy that goes, look at the way this guy handled this person. And he's still the same aggression level, but no swear words, no low blows.
Gavin can do it perfectly. Someone could swear or not swear, but someone could yell at him and he will just stand there like stone cold, straight face. His breathing doesn't change. His body language doesn't change. He'll just stand there and then he'll be like, okay. And then that's it.
That pisses him off.
Well, that's another thing. Maybe lack of verbiage is such a strong thing.
Keep calm. He can just I don't know where he learned it from, but
does he got some Krav Maga in him that he can throw him down after if they come after him when they get pissed
what he just says? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Maybe that should be.
I think that's why he is so successful a lot of times in the companies that he's worked for when it pertains to like being on the phones or being in customer service type roles, because he could just sit there and be like, oh, okay. Yep. I understand what you're saying. And then he'll go back to his script and be like, okay, well, this is,
I can't do that.
Like he just doesn't get fazed by it.
Can you do that?
Me? No.
Yeah.
No, I'm
absolutely
crazy.
Not.
No.
Can you do that?
Depends sometimes.
Like
really?
Like I've been trying to work on it and I've gotten better, but
if I know that I'm in the right and they're being jerks, I can take it, right? But again, if I'm like, if they're trying to prove me wrong or whatever, then I'll push back a little bit. Listen, jerk. Whatever. Yeah.
So
I can't do it.
What's your stance on emojis with clients? Like I have a couple clients that send me like a excessive amount of emojis in their communications. Like I don't typically send emojis to clients, like smiley faces and that kind of stuff.
You don't send the poop emoji?
Not in my industry. It's not very common.
I send the poop emoji all the time. It's so
Well,
relevant.
But like, so what's your stance on that? When
the
people
unflushable
use,
wipe emoji.
The unflushable
Oh my-
wipe was such a hit
Oh
this
my
week.
god!
but so when people don't like when people use slang or they use
Oh.
emojis and stuff, like how do you feel about
Wait,
that?
okay, so I love to reply with word.
Right.
Hey, do you want to meet here? Word.
Well, I know that means yes for you.
Yeah, I've had so many people that have replied to me and goes, huh? What?
Again, we go back to the Beaver Island street cred.
Listen,
Word-
Beaver Island is
word up,
not
Doc.
where word came from. I can tell you that.
Word.
But it's just,
Word.
you know-
Listen, but like I totally
Wait,
get
you
that.
just said you're a millennial, and now you're using a 1992 term word.
It's
but it's
like the 80s.
But it's just I'm
Word.
saying like to clients,
Yes.
specifically, you will say word to them.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't do that.
Yes. Absolutely.
Uh,
I am myself. I
I-
cannot get away from myself.
So I try to be a chameleon, right? I learned
I used to.
I learned a long time ago in sales, if you mimic them or shadow them, right?
Correct.
Then they feel more comfortable with you.
Uh-huh.
So if my person talks very softly, I'm gonna talk softer, right?
Yep.
If they swear, I'll swear. Back in the day, I don't know if I've ever shared this story on this show,
Uh-oh.
but back in the day when I was selling insurance for combined insurance, if you went into somebody's house and they smoked, this is when a lot of people smoked indoors, that said that they were comfortable with you, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as they'd light up, I'd light up with them in their house, back in the day.
Hmm.
And then one time, and this is when I had hair, right?
That was a long time
And
ago.
then,
wasn't
and
it?
then one time I'm it was a very long time ago, over 22 years ago, over 23 years ago. Anyway, one time we're sitting in this little house out in Iowa, and the guy gets up and he lights his cigarette on his gas stove.
like lights the gas stove and then goes and leans
Yeah.
into the gas.
Leans in, does it.
Listen, I can't.
And so I did that,
I've done that before.
and I burned my eyebrows in the front of my hair.
Well,
You
then.
leaned over it. You bent straight
I
over it,
did.
didn't you? You didn't come in from the side.
I did.
No.
Yeah, I was like,
Well,
and
Is that why you don't have hair anymore?
and I was like, I finished the cigarette and I'm going through my sales and they're watching me and I'm like, I got these guys. I feel good.
They're
man.
so entranced by me.
And they were just staring at my no eyebrow and burnt forehead.
well, that's so weird though that they didn't say nothing to you.
No, they
No, they were probably laughing their asses off.
And they probably still talk about me today.
I would to this
I'm
day
still
too.
talking about it because it's hilarious.
I mean, like, because when Rich worked for Comcast and he was at like a client's house,
Yeah.
he was working like under a desk or whatever, and then he wound up like hitting his eyebrow like right on the corner,
Oh, geez.
so it instantly started bleeding.
Bleeding. And they
And
bleed so
So
well.
like it was just like he had like blood coming down like his face, like nothing was dripping though,
Right.
and the person's just having a conversation with him, staring at him, just talking,
Oh, geez.
and then Rich gets back in the truck and like moves his hat or
And
hair
there's
or
blood
whatever.
everywhere.
And he's like, yeah, he looks at his hand. He's like, what the heck? And like the person didn't say nothing.
Right. Yeah, no, they didn't.
like, hey, don't worry, you're not bleeding.
And the only way that I knew is, I was backing out of their driveway, so I went to look in the mirror. And it's just, I'm like, oh shit.
Well,
Oh my
Yeah, it was
god.
great.
That's so funny.
It was.
But
That's
I've
hilarious.
got some great stories.
Hey,
out
that's
there in
why
the
I
country.
smoke the cigars that are really long.
Right.
So you stay away from those big pilot lights.
I feel like when you did insurance,
Yeah.
I feel like you had the most adventurous career of your life.
Oh, I
the
had-
weird situation. We
Trust
could
me,
do like a whole show just on
We
Kent's
could.
insurance story.
I have some great ones.
I
It's
mean,
nuts.
I'm pretty sure we could.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was fantastic, and it really, as a salesperson, I was using all the right language. I was getting them to nod. they're staring right at me. I'm like, God, I'm knocking this one out of the park. This feels good. They're going to buy this for sure. I go to close them and they're like, no.
So
sorry, you're missing half your hair.
So what's
And
your
eyebrows.
what's your thoughts and stance on industry terminology? Like when I'm talking to clients, I don't typically speak in accountant terminology. I speak in more of a layman terminology.
Good point.
And
So
then when I'm with a CPA, I'll speak in accountant terminology.
question on that. Let's back that one up one step. Do you have a way to convert all of your terminology, your bookkeeping terminology
like
into
98% of it, I would say, probably.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know. Most of the time, I feel like I do pretty good. I mean, I get a lot of compliments on it from people, like that they say they understand more than they did with their previous company because they just spoke in accountant terminology and debits and credits.
Mhm.
And then they, like a lot of people say that they just say, well, that's just the way it is. And then there's no other follow-up explanation behind it. And usually I'll give a follow-up explanation if it brings value to the understanding. So
knowledge is power in my mind, 100%. So that's where verbiage comes into play, is how can you relate your knowledge into their terminology that is relatable, right? Like that they can understand, right? One of the ones that I love to use for our industry when I talk about cracked foundations, right? We get people that call us for a cracked foundation, right? My foundation is leaking. Okay, come in, they lead me right down into the basement. We go down in the basement, we look around, and there's this cracked, in the foundation. It's got a little water dripping through, and you're like, yep, it's definitely leaking. All right, sounds good. Okay, yeah, you could get this sealed, boop. You can put some crack filler in it and lickety split, and it's all sealed, right? Great. Let's go outside and look outside at the foundation outside. And we go out there and I go, well, look, you got this drain pipe coming from your roof. Your downspout dumps right into the foundation at this crack. Maybe we should divert all this water that's dumping in here away. And they go, well, I don't get why. And I go, all right, well, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. Humpty Dumpty got all cracked up, right? You can't glue Humpty Dumpty back together again. Water is always going to find a new crack in. Right? So you're never going to glue your foundation back together again. Water is always going to find a new crack. First off, concrete always cracks. Second, concrete is porous. So water's just going to seep its way through. So you have to get the water away from the foundation if you're going to stop the leak. I could care less about that crack, right? I want the water away. And that's how the Humpty Dumpty is my little, and everybody goes, oh yeah, right? Like you're not going to glue Humpty Dumpty back together again. You're not gluing your foundation back together again. Go and get the water away, right? And that's how I explain it. So do you relate everything or find ways to relate things in ways like that, or is it more just no? You don't spend that much time.
No,
come on,
it's just straight conversation.
Straight
but...
up.
No. And Humpty Dumpty wasn't an egg.
He was
not. Anyway,
what was he then?
I was a regular person. And it's emotional cracks. It's not.
That's a different show. But so
that is a so different show.
But okay, so
all
right, so yes, with ours in our industry and in IT, I hate talking with IT people. Because
I hope Eric's not listening.
No, absolutely, Eric, call in because, absolutely, that's like one of the hardest things is to relate to an IT person or an engineer.
Yeah,
right. Somebody that talks in straight science. Yeah, and you're like, well, you just gave me 17 decimals, and I don't know what any of those mean.
Yeah. I can't do it. So our good friends over at Deft Technology, Deft Technology, the promise of technology. So it's a huge, they're like the second largest
is that server
data
place?
center. Yeah, data center in the Midwest. And I'm there now. I'm there with Drew, one of the business partners here, and Drew understands technology. I don't, right? And I'm here like Peter Griffin in my mind, just make it seem like you know what the hell they're talking about, because they're talking about IP machines and things and fliggers and you know,
just smile and,
I'm
nod.
like,
uh-huh.
I'm like, don't look surprised. Like, this is, you know, I literally, for the hour that we took a tour of this place, I'm like just looking at the flashing lights and things going, oh, this is, and every time you walk into one of these rooms, it sucks all the lint and stuff out. You're like, oh, this is pretty cool. This is like, you know, this is like 007 stuff. Like, that's where my mind's going. And the guy's talking about, but they're talking in terminology
Ebonics.
that I don't, I'm like, you could be talking German to me.
Ebonics.
Yeah. Right now, I don't know. Right,
you don't know.
In the banking world, we have that too. DTI, you know,
jargon.
LTV. There's things, right, that we use, and I always, especially with new employees, I'm like, you can't talk that language to our customers. They don't know what that is.
Jargon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jargon is what every industry has.
Yeah.
That we all translate, converse with, without anybody outside of the certain people outside of the industry will know it, but the jargon in your industry is exactly what you have to explain to other people, right? So, do you limit your jargon when you talk to clients and say, and not use it, or do you try to translate the jargon to them so you can continue to use the jargon throughout the transaction with your client?
I'm a translator.
You will translate the jargon so you can continue to use it. You won't translate everything you say to the client so that way you don't use jargon.
Correct.
You want to use it.
Yeah.
Okay. Same.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're able to explain it and break it down to them in a way that they can understand, that shows your experience, that shows your knowledge, that shows that you have a true understanding of the service that you're providing to them. And then if you explained it correctly, then you should be able to use the jargon to a certain extent for them to still follow the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. Love that.
All right. What about employee verbiage?
So for
I'm
us,
the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, I don't care if Valerie or Melanie drop like an F-bomb or whatever in the office. We've all done it. Nobody gets offended. Nobody gets upset, and it's fine. So, but I will never swear at them. Like if I'm mad, I won't swear at them.
There's certain employees I will. There's certain employees I won't.
I think it's different. Like if you're mad and you swear at them, that creates a hostile work environment, which then can create a toxic environment.
I would not. Okay, I'll say this: I won't swear at an employee. I will swear while reprimanding an employee. Right? It's not at them. It's
nope. That's at them, Joe. That's what that means.
Wait, does it?
Yes.
That's really what it means. Well,
yeah. like when you're reprimanding your kids,
you fucking suck. Versus, listen, I don't fucking want you to do this. I want you to do this.
You're
That's
not directing the
in my mind.
Them,
in my mind,
if you're angry or elevated,
I don't know.
During the
I'm just asking. Like I
wouldn't.
I
wouldn't
really
do.
Listen, when I reprimand somebody and I am actually angry, I restrain 100% from swearing.
Yeah.
I am very conscious of
your choice of words.
Of my choice of words when it comes down to how to handle somebody I am not happy with.
Derek says it's still swearing at them.
Yeah. Yes. Shut up, Derek.
If I'm mad or in a mood, I'm very conscious of my wording and things. But I feel like we have a very casual, comfortable work environment, and it doesn't bother me as long as clients don't hear any of the things that are said. It doesn't bother me. But we don't have a lot of clients that come to our office that's pre-scheduled.
If there, to me, there's a definite like, oh, here, I mean, my kids, right? So like if right now there's, you use verbiage for your kids, right? My daughter's names are Lily and Lucy. Their real names are Lillian and Lucille, right? So I don't call them by their full name.
Unless you're mad.
unless I'm mad.
Yeah, Rich only
Right?
calls me Stephanie when he's mad.
Oh, I only call Carrie when I'm hurt.
Oh, like physically hurt.
Physically,
Not emotionally.
Not like Humpty Dumpty.
Well, it could be emotionally too.
Not like Humpty
but
Dumpty.
physically, no. Physically, I will only say Carrie when I'm physically hurt and I'm in trouble, right? And then I go Carrie, and it's more like a Carrie, and she comes and she runs. She knows I'm in hurt and I'm in trouble and I need help.
Right.
Other than that, it's always Care.
Yeah.
Care, hey Care, this that you right. So, but my daughters lately, my
It's
oldest,
so weird because her name is Julie.
Jewel.
Care?
Care.
I mean,
because her name is
I
Bob.
think
Yeah, but
I think it's been like mortifying before where like I had like when I worked in construction and the guys were out there and they were saying things, but they were speaking in a different language and they didn't think that the customer could understand, but the customer understood everything they were saying. And then they called me and told me.
so
And like, how do you even handle that?
My
then?
wife was a teacher at CPS and she was an art teacher at a high school, and it was 98% Hispanic in the school at CPS, and they would all talk in Spanish and say swear words. So the first thing she did when she got a job there was go and buy a Spanish to English translation book of cuss words. So she didn't know the full sentence they were saying. All she could do was pick out the cuss word and go, I'm not a bitch. You're the bitch. Sit down and shut up. Right. Like, and that what she would do. And they'd be like, oh shit, she knew what I was saying. Right. Like, because she was able to pick out that certain verbiage and be able to be like, don't do that. Sit down. Right. Like,
I do not swear when dealing with employees. I did once. I was working for this bank. We'll just say that it has a blue octagon. I won't say
rhymes with ace.
Yeah, right. and I was opening a branch with this, in the morning with this gal who'd been there, and she was just pushing buttons, and wouldn't listen to what I was saying. And I'm like, you just got to shut the fuck up and listen to what I'm goddamn saying. The next day, HR showed up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I was like, oh.
I guess I'm
So
glad
that was the last
And
time?
it was the F. It was actually the F word that was written up because she just wouldn't. And sometimes you gotta break their pattern, right, and catch them off guard.
You gotta use a sentence enhancer.
And I'm like, what? That's right. That's it.
I'm gonna refer to
hey,
him as that for me.
I'm like,
I like
I
that.
go
I've
back,
never heard
go
that
back,
before.
go back and watch the
Sentence
film.
enhancer?
I said, go back and watch the film, and I'd see, and I go, I don't talk that way to employees, but she needed to get a grip and start listening to what I was saying, and that's the only way I could pattern interrupt, right? Well, needless to say, I was written up for that one.
They didn't see it as that way.
Yeah, no, they did.
I don't know.
Sentence enhancer.
Yeah.
I love it.
I've never heard of it that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, this is some new verbiage
So
I
now-
got today.
Now I don't. Now, that was several years ago, right? But now I won't.
So what did I learn today?
Yeah.
I learned that cussing, adding cuss words into a sentence is called a sentence enhancer.
Answer. Yeah, there's what you learned.
That's literally what I learned today.
What did we learn today?
Yeah.
I learned that Joe doesn't understand the difference between swearing or swearing at somebody.
Well, it's part of a sentence or it's at somebody. There's directing it at somebody, and there's enhancing a sentence.
I feel like Joe has evolved so much as a person during this episode, and he's gonna have many new perspectives on things now.
Probably won't.
I'm not saying you're gonna change anything. I'm just saying that you.
I just see it from a new angle now.
I learned that we don't trust a lot of the people that we work for or with, so that's why we want to get things in writing.
All of us have trust and commitment issues. I don't know.
Is that fair to say? Yeah, that's what I learned.
Listen, I learned that sentence enhancing is not differentiated between directed at somebody or just added to a sentence.
Yeah,
because you guys suck. fucking suck.
That's right.
Oh my goodness.
And with that,
great episode.
and with that, we'll put it right there. What's coming up next week? What do we got next
Yeah.
week?
We have hiring.
Hiring.
So we want to talk to anybody that's out there currently hiring. We want to talk to anybody that's looking for a job.
Yep.
What you look for in the job ad, what we as employers look at on the resume, what we believe and don't believe in your resume. And then we have some bloopers that we found on Indeed and stuff.
I was going to say, feel free to send in your resume and we'd love to add them to the blooper reel.
Yeah, and or the best emails addresses that you've gotten on those resumes.
Ooh, there's some good ones. To be honest, they all end in at google.com,
Or
Joe Schmo Bob.John Tom at google.com.
Hotmail. Hey, listen, for all of us here at 21.6, we can't thank you enough for getting stuck in the net here with us with In the Know with Steph and Joe's. We talk all about verbiage today. Check them out. Listen, they've got a podcast out there, In the Know Steph Joe. That's what it's called, In the Know Steph Joe, on Spotify. You can find it on anchor.fm. If you've missed any of the episodes in the past, feel free to go out there and you can just listen away. Nothing better to do while you're sitting in the tub soaking than to listen to In the Know with Steph and Joe.
I can think of a couple things I'd rather be doing.
No, you can't.
No, but listen to In the Know with Steph and Joe. Like, share it out. And of course, until we meet again, be good. But once more important,
Be good to yourself.
Yeah, be good to each other.